The lake at Willow Creek shores shimmered under the morning sun, its surface broken only by the occasional ripple of a fish. I'm Caleb, 35, and fishing is my sanctuary, a quiet escape from a world that often feels too loud. After years of city stress and a suffocating HOA at my old apartment, I found this lakeside cabin, a slice of paradise surrounded by ancient oaks. The community guidelines promised equal access to the lake for all residents, and I chose a spot under the biggest oak on the western shore, where the light was perfect for bass fishing and the shade kept the summer heat at bay. I thought I'd found peace. But on my third morning, casting my line in the stillness, I met the storm named Margaret Voss, the HOA president who'd ruled Willow Creek for a decade with an iron grip and a designer wardrobe. She marched toward me, clipboard in hand, her flawless makeup and athleisure outfit screaming entitlement. "This is a private community area," she snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. I set my rod down, confused. I thought the lake was for all residents. I pay HOA fees too. Her eyes narrowed, her clipboard waving like a judge's gavel. "There are rules about lake usage and aesthetic integrity." I asked for the specific bylaw, expecting clarity. Instead, she faltered, muttering about looking it up. Her real issue slipped out: "This is my spot. I meditate here. I take photos here." It wasn't about rules, it was about control. I stayed calm. "Who decided this public lakefront is yours?" Her face flushed, she was speechless for a moment before doubling down. "I'm the HOA president, and I won't be spoken to like this." She stormed off, her heels clicking furiously on the dock. I dealt with her type before bullies hiding behind titles. If Margaret wanted a fight, I'd give her one, but on my terms, with every move recorded. I'd installed security cameras around my property after my last HOA nightmare, and they'd prove invaluable. For 5 days, I baited Margaret, testing how far her obsession with power would go, all while documenting her unraveling. Day 1, I swapped my subtle green umbrella for a garish pink one, impossible to miss against the lake's natural hues. It was legal but guaranteed to rile her. I caught her glaring from her deck, her morning yoga ruined by the neon I saw. Day 2, I added a portable speaker, playing soft classical music during her meditation time, not loud enough to break any ordinance, but enough to disrupt her precious silence. Her scowl was priceless. Day 3, I strung fishing lines with bright yellow bobbers across her walking path, high enough to be safe but forcing her to duck or detour. Her frustration was palpable as she navigated my obstacle course. Day 4, I leaned into psychological warfare, waving cheerily and calling, "Beautiful day for lake activities, Mrs. Voss," each time she peeked from her window. My phone captured her murderous glares, evidence piling up. By day 5, I set up a folding table, tackle box, coffee thermos, and camping chair, signaling I wasn't going anywhere. Margaret's emails flooded the community portal, vague complaints about noise and visual pollution. She sprayed air freshener near me, muttering about fishy odors, despite my catch and release practice. She snapped photos of my gear from odd angles, clearly plotting her next move. On day 6, she came armed with a folder of official documents, waving them like a weapon. "These are the community guidelines on noise, visual pollution, and resource monopolization." I asked to see them, spotting generic HOA templates with placeholder text like "Insert community name here." "Are these from our board?" I pressed. Her stammering betrayed her bluff. She'd expected me to cower, not question. That afternoon, Ellen Harper, the HOA's reasonable vice president, called. Her tone was grave. "We've received serious complaints about your lake activities, Mr. Turner." Margaret had filed a formal grievance, accusing me of disturbing wildlife, creating noise pollution, and tanking property values. I smiled. "I've documented everything, Ellen. High-definition video of every interaction with Mrs. Voss." There was a pause. "Documented?" she asked, intrigued. I explained my cameras, my past HOA troubles, and my evidence of Margaret's harassment. Ellen's tone shifted from formal to curious, asking me to present at the next board meeting. Margaret had handed me the perfect stage. 2 days later, Margaret's desperation peaked. As I cast my line, I noticed her watching from her window, her stare intense, calculating. 20 minutes later, she charged toward me, reaching for my fishing rod mid-cast. I pulled back instinctively. She stumbled, landing in a heap on the grass. Before I could offer a hand, she screamed. He pushed me. He attacked me. Neighbors gathered, drawn by her theatrics. I stood stunned as she pointed, claiming I was a menace. But Mr. Lawson, an elderly neighbor, stepped forward. "Ma'am, we saw you grab his rod. You fell when he moved back." Nobody pushed anyone. Others nodded, one filming on their phone. Margaret's lies crumbled in real time, her neighbor's skepticism growing. She ranted about my psychological warfare, but her unhinged tone only alienated the crowd further. Mr. Lawson pulled me aside later. "She's bullied folks here for years. You're doing this right, son. Don't back down." His words confirmed Margaret wasn't just my problem, she was the community's. The HOA meeting was electric, the community center packed with curious residents. Ellen opened, giving Margaret the floor. She spun a tale of me as a calculated harasser, targeting her with noise and aggression. I stayed calm, connecting my laptop to the projector. "Let's see what happened," I said, playing the videos. The first showed Margaret claiming the lake as hers, unable to cite rules. Others captured her escalating antics, fake documents, rod grabbing, and false accusations. The room's mood shifted, gasps and murmurs grew as her lies unraveled. The rod incident drew audible shock, her fall clearly her own doing. Margaret protested, "He's stalking me," recording without consent. But her shrill denial sounded desperate against the undeniable footage. Ellen dropped a bombshell. "Over 2 years, we've had 8 complaints about Mrs. Voss's bullying." Residents shared stories: teens basketball hoop banned, laundry citations, dog noise fines, all legal activities. Margaret's pattern of abuse emerged, her authority built on intimidation. The board placed her on probation, launching a review of her presidency. Margaret didn't stop. 2 days later, police cruisers rode to the lake. An officer approached, hand on his belt. "We got a call about a weapons threat. Are you the fisherman?" My stomach sank. "The caller says you're stalking her with a sharp object." Margaret appeared, performing terror. "He's been threatening me with that rod." The second officer, recognizing her, sighed. "Mrs. Voss, 1247 Lakeview Drive." He listed her past false reports: barbecue smoke, a sprinkler assault. Inspecting my rod, he said, "This is fishing gear, ma'am, not a weapon." I showed them my videos, including her rod grab and false claim. They issued her a stern warning for misusing 911, threatening charges for future false reports. "Smart keeping records," one officer said, shaking my hand. Margaret retreated, defeated. 3 weeks later, Willow Creek transformed. The board ousted Margaret as president, implementing anti-harassment rules and open reporting. Residents reclaimed their freedoms: basketball games returned, laundry dried in the sun. The lake became a fishing zone, marked by a welcoming sign. Mr. Lawson gifted me his father's vintage tackle box, a nod to our shared victory. I started teaching kids to fish, turning my solitary spot into a community hub. Margaret kept to herself, her imperious air gone, her reputation in tatters. As I cast my line under the oak, the lake's golden ripples felt sweeter, earned through a fight not just for my peace, but for a community freed from a bully's grip. Yet, as I watched the water, a question lingered: would Margaret's defeat last, or was one final act of desperation still to come?